Hey, this is Randy from BibleBuyingGuide.com. Today I'm taking a look at the new NRSV single column reference Bible in the Premier Collection from Zondervan. Comes in a nice two-piece box. And let's see what we got here. It is a 10.5 print size, generous yap, wide margins, Smythe sewn 36 GSM paper, side column reference. Let's take a look. So the cover is goatskin with a leather liner, and like all the other Premier Collection, it does have the gilt line, which I like. Gives it an extra little touch of design. Edge lined, perimeter stitched, has a little bit of green. I like that green. It looks really nice. It's an elegant green. 5 spine hubs with the text printed in gold, and it's not oversized. It's a good size. It fits it well. 3 satin ribbons, silver, purple, and gold. And speaking of purple, this is a purple under gold art gilt. So that gives it a nice design. It looks a lot different than normal. See, made in China. The paper is 36 GSM. There's a presentation page. And you see this little extra section that seems to come apart. That's because it has overcast stitching on that first signature. And you'll see that stitching right there. I don't know if it's showing up well on the camera, but it does have a line of stitching that you'll see all the way down, sewing that first signature together. It gives it a lot of extra structure. So that's actually a good thing. And so we have the 36 GSM European paper, which is very opaque. Highly opaque. I like this paper. It's got just enough of a rough feel. It's not rough, but it has just enough of a rough feel that's easy to grab and separate. The text is 10.5 point. This is a 2K Denmark design typeface designed specifically for the NRSV for Zondervan. It's extra dark. This is darker than some of the other fonts that I've seen. About 14 words across, 12 to 14 in that range. Highly readable. I love reading from this. The verse numbers at the beginning of each paragraph are extra large, so those in the paragraph are a lot smaller. They're a little bit more difficult to find. If you're trying to find something quick, it does take an extra second or two to find. It's not that bad. I like this design enough that I would be okay with making that trade. But I'm a paragraph guy, so I like that. Footnotes are in the footer with a separated line. Cross references, there are not a lot of cross references, but there are enough. They are out in the margin and evenly spaced all the way down. So they're not necessarily near the verse they go with. So I can't, like here's verse 15, well there's 17, 16. I can't look over here and go down the line and say, oh, there's 17 and it's right in here somewhere. So they're just evenly spaced down the line. I kind of wish that they were closer to the verses they go with. That's my personal preference. This is still good. We have an inch margin on the outside so that we can make notes or whatever we want to do there. So this thing, it lays open well. It's easy to read. Across the top we've got the book name, chapter and verse number, and then the page number, and then a decorative line. That same decorative line appears in the footer with the footnotes. Poetic setting looks extra nice because of the 14 words per line. Poetry looks better in a single column. It's just designed for single column, and you can see the advantage of it. It looks excellent. Everything's printed with line matching, and I think that even includes the references. Seem to be printed with line matching. The paper is opaque enough that you don't have a lot of gray background behind the text. So it looks really good. Easy to read. This is a black letter text. Bold section headings in all caps. Now, one thing they did better on this one than what I've seen in the NASB, this one has a lot larger inner margin. So it doesn't bend into the gutter. The text doesn't bend away from you. So that's a little bit better for reading than the NASB would be. See, here's an example of where the references just continue down the page, evenly spaced. I do like them in the side column. I don't necessarily like them away from the text. I personally, my personal opinion, I prefer references next to the verses they go with. It's just more convenient. You want to find this reference, it's right there. You want to find this verse, it's right there. They help each other that way. Here's one of my favorite tools in the NRSV, and that is the authorized condensed glossary and concordance. So this has names, places. It's a lot better than just a concordance, in my opinion. So it gives descriptions of things, not really theological based. So it's more fact based than anything else. I like that. It works really well. And then in the very back we have our Zondervan maps printed on the glossy pages. Now I did not see a set of stitching in the back, so I think the overcast is only in the front. I didn't see it in the back. But the maps, I love the colors of the maps. It doesn't have an index, but I still find them easy to use because of the names are large. Everything's easy to find, so it has elevation, routes, borders, topography, events. So let's take a look at our size and weight. Now I'm doing the overall size. You'll see the number that I give is different than the number that you find on the pages where you purchase, because they give the trim size, and that's the size of the block, of the text block. I give you the overall size because that's the size you need to know if you're going to put this in a box or a case or something along that line. So we're looking at around 6 3/4 and just a touch over 10 1/8, like 10 3/16, and then 1 1/2. Does have a little bit of a yap, so that does help protect the pages a little. When I'm carrying a Bible, I tend to put my hand right there and it wraps anyway. And it weighs 2 pounds 13.9 ounces. Not too large to carry, not too large to hold. It is a lot floppier than most Bibles, but I can hold it with one hand. Let's do some comparisons. So the first I want to compare it to is the single column NASB in the Premier Collection, and we'll see some differences. The NASB is noticeably thicker, noticeably heavier. Everything else as far as the footprint is similar, and same paper, same materials. And then the NASB has red highlights, while the NRSV has black highlights. And then here's how they compare. The font on the NRSV is darker. I kind of almost think it's a little too dark in some lighting. I don't think that at all about the NASB. The NASB darkness is perfect for me. This is still good though. I don't have any issues with how dark that is. It's just noticeably darker. So let's compare the inner margin. And you'll see here the difference between the two margins. The NRSV has quite a bit larger margin to bring that text out of the gutter. Another difference is the width of the references. This one, the references are about 5/8, while this one is almost an inch. They both have an inch margin. So the NRSV has more words per line than the NASB does. And the next is the NRSV large print thin line. Now this, of course, is not a premium Bible, but just to get you an idea, if you are familiar with this one, how they do compare. Noticeably thinner, of course. 30 GSM paper in that one compared to the 36 in this one. And this one is a double column layout. With a noticeable show through compared to this one. The paper has a more of a brighter white color, while this one's just a slight bit off white. I prefer this one. Here's how they compare. So that's a quick look at the NRSV single column reference Bible in the Premier Collection from Zondervan. I like this Bible. It's really nice. It's made well. It's easy to read, easy to use, easy to carry. It is a little floppier than I personally prefer. A lot of people do prefer the more floppy. So if you're that person, then you'll love that. Poetry is beautiful. I like the extra space in the margin. I like that it has an inch margin on the outside. I wouldn't mind if it had the red highlights. I do kind of like the idea of the red highlights that stand out. It gives it a little bit more finished feel. Purple would have been cool. Just, I don't know. Would have been nice. I like that it has purple art gilt. That's really cool. Really interesting. So, yeah, I like this Bible. I like this Bible a lot. I'm going to post some links in the notes where you can make a purchase. And they are affiliate links, so if you use them, I do get part of that sale, and I appreciate that because that helps me keep BibleBuyingGuide.com running. And you can see the written review on BibleBuyingGuide.com with a lot more detail and more information about this Bible. Zondervan did supply this in exchange for an honest review, and if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.